All right. I think we have probably a stable amount of people coming in. It seems like it slowed down a little bit. So here we all are to talk about account-based marketing. There's 20 of us. So the way this is going to go down, same way it always goes down. Except for last time's was a little different with Ilana, but it's just going to be an open discussion. How have you done ABM in the past? If you have, if you haven't, why? That's kind of the world I'm in. It's like I've always tried and always hit some roadblocks and then it's taken too long or whatever. What have you seen work? What hasn't? My main issue with it usually is like, how do I balance the effort and personalization with impact and making progress? And there's always like a push-pull there. So I'd love to hear what people have to say about that. And then I know there's a lot of tools to speed up the process, to track results. So I do think we'll go into breakout rooms, even though it messes with the recording. And then at the end, Jim Callan here is going to walk us through Dadia. Now we have some more people signing up or coming in, which is really powerful for ABM and very cool and specifically for K-12. So that'll be a good little treat at the end. So let me, also, I always take notes on this slide deck, and I am going to, nobody ever joins me with this, but if you want to take notes, the link is open. I'm going to put it in the chat. I know there's a bunch of note takers, but sometimes they just like don't capture everything that I want to capture. Or, so that's that. If you want to get in there and take notes with me. Oh, whoops. Let me change the permission real quick.
On one side, we have somebody that kind of got in. It says, has anyone tried retargeting when they try to click into the link? The rest of my team is struggling, Haley. And I did. It was that middle link.
Okay.
So I don't know if
I think the meeting was broken. Yeah. Okay. Well, literally, this is my fear every time. I feel like
I know. It's
the Google. I got to get rid of the Google Calendar invite. Okay, we're gonna go into breakout rooms. Jim, you can just message me. Just message me, and I'll the link. It's the link to this. So I don't know if you're able to. Yeah, copy invite link and send it to them. You see them?
Yeah, I'll try. Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh, we had a cliffhanger from Allie.
Allie needs to finish.
Okay, you might have to give just background.
It's super, I put it in the chat, super fast. It's like they're converting at a higher rate, they're converting at a faster rate, and they're staying and they're persisting in funnel for longer. So even though we really just started, like all the green shoots are there to suggest that ABM is gonna kick out the old way if we can just figure it out all the way through.
Well, that was a good plug for ABM. You know what? We have just 10 minutes until Jim is going to give us the overview. So I think it's better if we just stay as one group, and then also this will continue to be recorded and kind of share out and discuss any remaining questions. I think in our session with Christine, we talked a lot about 6th Sense and using that tool to identify unknown users, to identify buyer intent, to show you when there's traction across a particular account. I think one of the questions I have for the whole group is, I feel like you could use that without doing ABM. Like that could just be intent signals, and then you just run email and call sequences, and it's just sort of like the regular thing. You know, it's like regular prospecting. And so it just, and then Kate was saying like, yeah, we actually end up doing field marketing. And then I started thinking like, how would field marketing actually look different from ABM specifically? Because it seems like field marketing, you're really trying to personalize and target, you know, in a more narrow way. So I don't know. Those are some thoughts. I will just share, I think what I shared in the last one, which is I've never been successful, and I did in the intro too. I don't feel like I've ever been successful in actually pulling off ABM because it takes a really long time. I don't have the system in place. I have to coordinate with the sales reps. They don't want to do the research. There's like two types of reps. I feel like there's like the ones who do the research and the ones who don't. They go all volume, or the ones who personalize. And it takes too long. But I always wonder, is it going to work better? So good to know, Allie, that you're having success. So any other thoughts?
My takeaway was that, which you touched on and Allie did too, sometimes there's, or often, a big disconnect between sales and marketing, and that people define ABM in a lot of different ways. So depending on who you ask, it can mean different things. So I guess you'd have to make sure you understood what you really were trying to accomplish with ABM, and make sure the version of it that you were doing accomplished those goals. That's kind of was my takeaway.
Well, we had a discussion in our group that ABM works well for B2B more than it would be for curriculum-based decisions. Was that accurate?
I think Kate had said that it didn't work as well.
Yeah, I mean, and we know this with curriculum purchases. There's just a lot of fingers in that pie. It'd be hard to isolate buyer's intent for that. But it was eye-opening for me to hear, like, yeah, if you have a more specific product that not everybody in the district is looking for, it could be really powerful.
I think this actually gets back to like, how do you select the accounts for your ABM motion, right? So it sounds like, Kate, you're really going after intent as one of the identifiers, but you could look at a lot of different factors. Like, I'm pulling together a list right now for a company, and it's like, we're going to do, 5 to 7 indicators of whether it's the best market, kind of score them accordingly, and then probably narrow down accounts. And it's not going to be about intent. It's going to be about funding, approved vendor lists, how much they've spent in the past year on that particular, how much the state has spent in the past year on that particular problem. Because we don't have any intent data. They're just getting started. People want to hear more from you, Allie. Allie's not in EdTech right now. She was for a long time.
Interloper. I did confess that in my group that I'm an interloper. I was for a long time. I was a teacher at the University of New Orleans. I went into marketing and at Pearson, and then I went to K-12 at Renaissance. But now I am currently at a scale up that's selling assessments, but B2B style. What is it that people want to know from me, Allie? I'm happy to share.
There was a question in the chat. Allie, what have you found to be effective? Would love to learn more, from Catherine Quigley.
I would say that here's how we're doing. We had the sales, we didn't start with intent data. So just full disclosure on that. Here's how we started. These are the accounts we want to win. They're solidly within our ICP. They're lookalike accounts to the accounts that are our best customers. They're the ones we're going to win. Sales team identified those. And then I'm advertising to those. And I'm advertising to them using display ads, ads on podcasts, TV streaming, PPC, LinkedIn. And my ad budget is perhaps more generous than somebody who's at a smaller company. I am spending about $200,000 a quarter on advertising. And then those people are interacting, they're downloading white papers, they are reading blogs, they're seeing ads, et cetera. And we're tracking all of that with pixels and cookies and things that I don't really understand. And then we're tracking how many accounts we heat up. They have to have so many people do so many activities at a certain account in order to be considered hot, warm, or hot. We're tracking that on the weekly. And then we're taking that information and turning it over to the sales team, and then encouraging them to reach out by doing that research, right, and finding out more about what's going on, because our assumption is that these people that they're not quite yet in a buying cycle, but they're about to be, and they're probably in the midst of doing some research. We know that by the time somebody puts in a demo request, they may have already decided, and we may just be that last person they need for an RFP, but they've already decided they're going to buy company A, right? And we're just in there for a comp, and maybe bring the price down. We feel like that's too late to get in. So we're just trying to get in earlier, and that's how we're using ABM. And we just started in Q3, so we have a long sales cycle, 6 to 8 months, generally speaking. So we haven't seen any real deals come in yet, but I can tell you that all the green shoots seem to be working, and the ABM accounts that the sales team is outbounding to are converting stage to stage. They're persisting in funnel, and the ones that are coming in through MQLs, because we are seeing that, right? People filling out demo requests that we've advertised to are also converting at higher rates. In fact, I would say my conversion rates from MQL to stage 1 or ABM to stage 1 historically have been pretty low, like 22%, and we're right now functioning at about 38%, and stage 1 to stage 2 is almost doubled.
Can you share your average customer lifetime value just to see if any of us are like in anywhere near the realm of?
I don't actually know my lifetime value off the top of my head. I can tell you that our average sale price is somewhere between 80 and 120.
Oh, okay. So I just always find it interesting, like to balance ad spend against the contract value.
Sure. Most of our customers will sign a 3-year contract.
And the 80 to 120 is for the 3 years?
No, that's ARR. That's annual. So it'll be
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is good intel. Allison, you've got to have some experiences in this regard. I'm gonna start calling on people.
I have a question. So I'm part of a like marketing group. It's not EdTech, and it's they do touch on a lot of these things. One of the things that they're teaching is to use AI to scrape LinkedIn profiles to then customize the outbound emails. And I know I've been on like the receiving end of some of these, and I'm like, where I went to college has nothing to do with what you're selling. But I was like thinking like through the lens of like our market, right? Our market is not exactly B2B, right? And our company sells directly to at the school level, principals and assistant principals. I'm just wondering if anyone has tried anything like that, and like what data would even be worth scraping or being available. Like I know that like principals are not updating their LinkedIn profile the way like a business person is in industry. So I'm just curious if anyone has any experience with that.
Actually, yeah. And I really liked the team that sold to us for this product. So I would like super highly recommend working with them. Starbridge AI, has anyone heard of it?
So
They actually take publicly available district meeting notes,
okay.
and you can query and search for mentions of specific topics that align with your product or specific complementary or competitive product names from district meeting notes. And so you can get like super valuable insights of like specifically what groups of accounts or accounts are like talking about in their most recent like school improvement meetings or board meetings. It's been pretty awesome to see. So we just bought it, and now our problem statement is like, how do you actually use that data in the best way? Are we going to use it for marketing? Are we going to use it for sales? So I'd actually love to hear from anyone, like once you have really specific account level insights that are worthwhile, like it's like, oh, they have a complementary product to us, or, you know, something like that. Has anyone found a good way to use that data? Like, is it ad targeting? Is it sales email? Like, I'm just curious how you kind of systematize that.
I can tell you just at a real basic level, because it's a very small team, we're using similar information from board meeting notes, but all the stuff that's in GovSpend, past POs. We know that there's a budget crunch right now. I help a particular company that is, the offering is 80% less expensive than a competitor. So we're just going in with that message with sales prospecting emails. And like, it's going okay. I don't think, it's like it started off really strong and we got some meetings. But I haven't heard much since then. It's been a couple months. I'm curious, I'll have to look at it. Maybe Catherine, we can connect. I'm curious to know how much Starbridge is, because the other players are you know, in the 7,000 a year range, and they require multi-year contracts. So if Starbridge is cheaper and they're, you know, cutting off a slice of that pie, that would be good to know.
Yeah, I don't know what the like etiquette is around sharing pricing information, but we paid $15,000 for a year contract.
Oh, you did? Okay. So
But I mean, they give you a lot of data. Basically, I was told like close one deal from the insight that you get from this, and it like would be worth it. And so, the other thing that they do that I haven't played around with yet, but like is kind of valuable that they don't charge per context is you can actually get email addresses. Like some people might use EduLead here for like AI-based contact sourcing from accounts. EduLead's another really good vendor that we work with AI website scraping, but they also, Starbridge also, you can like look up specific contacts for accounts and export those. So like if people pay for Agile or MDR, you know, that's just like another cost saving.
gotcha. Well, time just went by really fast. So it's actually time to turn it over to James. I don't know which one he likes to go by better. But I'll let him introduce
I'm like
himself.
Bill Clinton. I sign things James, but I go by Jim. So
Okay. All right. And here's Jim, who I will let take over the convo.
yeah. Well, thank you all for joining. Actually, it'll be my team. Steve's on. Some of you met him. Rachel's on. I think Rachel's going to share her screen for us. Promise we'll be done in 10 minutes. What I'll do is I'm going to tell you about Dadia, why we launched Dadia, where we fit in the marketplace. Steve will take you through how we execute a campaign, and Rachel will show you the what, the dashboard that we provide, the visualization, the scoring. So, you know, we'll go through all that. So Dadia, just to start, is the fusion of data and media, and where we want to sit in the marketplace. And a lot of people mentioned this. We heard Terminus brought up, 6th Sense brought up, demand base usually falls into that. Propensity is a new player on the field. So we sit decidedly between those intent companies, which we believe intent is really, really important. As a matter of fact, we call it account-based marketing with intent, and traditional publishers like EdWeek, EdDive, EdSurge, Tech and Learning, and on and on. And we want to use the best of both worlds in those capacities and enhance it at the same time, using those intent signals to help not only generate lead flow and MQLs, but distinguish the MQLs from the SQLs, so you know how to handle each and every lead. Is it mid-funnel, top of the funnel, or is it moving towards sales qualified? And map that to your sales and marketing goals so you have a really, really predictable pipeline, so we feel like lead intelligence drives performance. So that's where we are. Steve will take you through how we execute it now.
Sure. Yeah. Good afternoon. Good morning for some of you. I'm Steve, and you know, I think Allison had mentioned in our little section chat there that, you know, ABM, one of the big benefits is it's not spray and pray, right? And so we want to get hyper targeted. And so what we do for our clients is work and say, who are only the personas you care about? What are the district sizes you care about? And what are the geographies? You know, a number of our clients are either there are some states that they don't care about, or they're hyper focused on 15 or 20 states or their priority areas. So we want to really get zeroed in, dialed in on, let's get your visibility out only solely in front of those folks. And so we start for all our clients, they're checking boxes, right? And so we want to make this as impactful as possible. Rachel, if you go to the next slide here. So I think this is going to be helpful. You know, one of the talking points I think, Catherine, you mentioned is like, okay, we have those school board meeting minute insights, right? And so really what we think is really the cumulative effect of having a number of intent signals. There's no one sort of magic cure in any of this. And so what we do is we create an ad for you, or we take your ad, and we're going to serve that up socially, LinkedIn and Facebook, and we're going to serve that up solely to those personas that you said were your targets. Similarly, we're going to do that programmatically on brand safe websites. So where your targets live, they're going to begin to see that. And what we're looking to do is warm up the audience. We're going to capture impressions, of course. We'll capture some leads, and a lead for us is somebody who actually exchanges their contact information to download your asset and view it in full, right? And so we're serving up an ad with the best case scenario is they click into your ad, it takes them to your thought leadership asset, a case study, a white paper, not sales collateral, but real thought leadership around your area of expertise. So we'll begin capturing ad clicks. We'll capture some leads that way, but really it's a warm up phase. And so for this next, this third prong, if you will, is we're going to send them that gated asset, your thought leadership asset, by email. And we've seen that when we warm them up socially and programmatically, they're more likely to actually engage and do that download. That's where we capture the majority of top of funnel leads for our clients by email that way. And then this is where it really kind of starts to get interesting, right? And so from there, we go back into our customer data platform and we see, from any of those leads that we captured, is anybody reading on topics that relate to your products and services on the Data K-12 website, as well as off of our website? We're part of the 𝗪𝘁𝗰𝗵 network. For those of you who are familiar with that, about 200 media companies, 5,000 websites tracking daily. And so we want to see topical searching. And believe it or not, our clients really like to see what topics they're reading on, because that's super helpful when they're doing their outreach. And then that last prong, we are scraping school board meeting minutes for our clients. And so really getting hyper-focused before, during, and after the campaign, what discussions are being had. So at a very, preliminary level, if somebody's clicking on your ads, that's a nice to know, and we want you to know that. But on the other end, as we start to discern MQLs from SQLs, if they're clicking into your ads, if they're downloading your email content, and we can see they're reading on and off our website, or even if there's some school board meeting insights, as you'd imagine, that's super effective. And our, the sales teams absolutely love that. So instead of just saying, hey, I heard you wanted a demo, when somebody downloads your content, it's more or less saying, I know you have a particular pain point in this area. I know this is a particular focus for you. And so just being much more intentional in their outreach. And sort of the net effect of that, I think, Rachel, if you want to take them through just to show what a dashboard is, sort of the net effect of all this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here is a sample dashboard that is custom for each client, but here's where you're going to see all the data. You'll see several different reports up at the top. This first one is insights on the ecosystem. So at a glance at any given time, you can see the data. How many impressions are we serving? How many engagements? That would be the clicks on the ads or the opens to the email. What's the CTR? How many engaged users does that equate to? And how many leads are we generating? So it's a guaranteed lead gen program. And where are those engagements coming from across those different channels? So you can just hover over each of these and see that data. Most of the time will be spent on this report, which is the engaged users by district. So, of course, as Steve mentioned, these are targeted to those district enrollment size, geo that you want, or perhaps the national. But you're going to see all the data across in this report. How many engagements do you have on a district by district view? How many engaged users? The school board minutes, this is where we would set up based on your keywords. Are they discussing those keywords in the school board minutes? So we're going to show you those minutes right down here. The snippet of where they're talking about the keyword, and this sample survey is one of the keywords, and then a link to that school board minute if you wanted to read more on that. So this is definitely intent signal, that it could be a priority based on their recent conversations in the school board meetings. So you'll see a why, knowing that, hey, there's a school board minute attached right below. Topic, this is where we mentioned we partner with 𝗪𝘁𝗰𝗵, and are they reading on those topics that align? And we have a dashboard specifically for the topic insights. So you can look here and say, hey, what are they reading on? I can filter down. If I want to look at a specific district, I can just put in that district name. and search that way, or I can look at a specific state or specific topic. So you can really drill down. If you want to follow up with Judson, you can see what they're reading on. You can see if there's school board minutes. We're going to get into the context here in a moment. So those are the different topic insights. I'm going to jump back and feel free to, I'm not looking at the chat, but if you have questions, feel free to reach out or put it in the chat. The engagements. So again, how many engagements, how many engaged users? Now they can engage, and of course that's some intent and good information. When they do download your content, clients do receive the complete contact information, name, title, email, etc. But say they haven't downloaded yet, but you still are seeing some engagement. You might want to find out, okay, Beacon City, for example, 3 engaged users, 1 lead. Well, let's get a little more information on that district. And I can just go into the district insights here, and I can see which job function. So the superintendent engaged a couple times and did become a lead. So we have their information, as well as the associate superintendent. So you're getting that information about how many people are engaging in the district. So that associate superintendent has engaged and has not yet become a lead. You can also do some sorting by jump function. So if you want to look at all the area superintendents, for example, or area superintendents in North Carolina, you can drill down different ways.
So the geo as well, Rachel.
The geo, so state, yes.
Yeah, that map.
And then down below, we do have a heat map. So, and it also gives you a quick view state by state. Usually we're seeing Texas up here near the top, but a lot of engagements from Texas, how many engaged users. If I want to just quickly filter down by Illinois, for example, I'm going to see just Illinois data. The leads insight, we give some data on how did those downloads come to be. If we're promoting different assets, you're going to see asset by asset, and kind of give some data on your different content pieces, both by who came in as a lead, as well as in general information about how many impressions per asset, how many clicks, what's the CTR, etc. That is some quick information. This is all exportable, all the tables. If you prefer to view in Excel, we do have an export on everything.
One thing I would add is that Steve and Rachel mentioned creating the exact personas by looking at states and size and stuff, but title and function are another way that it's highly segmented, and making sure that we're reaching the exact titles and functions that you're looking for. And really, the 2 biggest ways people think about account-based marketing is it the top accounts, i.e., here are the top 500 districts that we want to target, or how do we create those districts by saying, we want 1,000+ students in certain states with these titles and functions, and we can create that. We even have clients that do both, and we just create 2 different segments, tops accounts, and everybody else that fits that ideal customer profile. And then Rachel, show them, like, you can sort on this by leads, by intent score, engagement. A lot of people go by intent score, right? Because typically we feel like 90 and above is in sales qualified or moving there. 31 to 89 is mid-funnel, trending one way or another. And below that is clearly just a marketing qualified top of the funnel lead. So it helps you understand, which level of nurture should it go in, or if they're moving towards sales qualified, right? Those are the ones, call it 5%, that you want to be more intentional and have a more micro campaign approach to it and touch to it, while the others should go kind of into a normal nurture campaign. And how do you, provide sales, a smaller number, but of more qualified leads while you're nurturing the rest? I don't know, did we do it in 10 minutes, Haley?
You did. I think it would be great if you just touched on pricing, not to put you on the spot.
Sure.
I think
Sure.
It's really good value for what you guys are offering, so people should know.
Yeah. And I mean, it depends on the length, the number of leads, the number of impressions, but we have the rate card here, and it'll also show you, we do traditional content syndication, newsletters, we can create content for people, do research, a lot of newsletters, a lot of things other traditional companies do, but you know, today was about ABM, and it is what makes us decidedly different. So yeah.
And that's,
We-
you know, I know a lot of
share
a
some
lot
or
of folks
all of
Jim.
this with anybody that would like it as well.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks that, you know, typically the feedback is, oh, it's scary because you got to commit to these long subscription things. And so we, you know, one of the things our clients, the feedback we get is they just like that they can kick the tires, so to speak, and do everything on a campaign by campaign basis to see how it's working for them. So that's how we try to make that more accessible.
Awesome.
Would love feedback. If
You have questions?
if you loved it, hated it, or somewhere in between, found value in it, super helpful for us to hear feedback. And I know everyone had a little bit different of a thought in terms of what ABM is and how they use it. And some use it just for existing clients, but hopefully that was helpful.
Thank you, Jessica. She wrote a chat. But if you do want information, we're happy to share the deck, the rate card. You can see here our email addresses. Steve and I split the country. So I'm A through L, Steve's M through Z. So feel free to drop us an email or a LinkedIn. We'll be happy to give more information.
Just US focused too on that question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you able to share any of the companies that you're working with?
Sure. I mean, we work from startups to the biggest names like Power School and
Yeah, Pearson
Qualcomm
and
and Pearson and
Extron.
yeah, and then small startup companies. So I think, you know, we probably have about 40 clients currently that we're working with, and that adds every single day. And yeah, from startups to Fortune 500.
Yeah, really the only common denominators they're looking to, as Jim mentioned, more meaningfully discern their SQLs from their MQLs. So they're not just treating everybody the same, right? And so we work with assessment companies, online tutoring companies, staffing companies, infrastructure, technology. So really just wanting to be more,
Transportation.
yeah,
Yes.
more
And
intentional.
Steve, there's a note in the chat for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest reasons we did this was we did see kind of a disconnect between sales and marketing after years and years of being in this space. That sales, and somebody mentioned it, right? Sales wants 1,000 marketing qualified leads or not. And we found one or two things happen. They either took all leads, marketing qualified leads, and were really aggressive with them and would call them 2, 3, 4 times a day, every day for 2, 3, 4 weeks, emails, in-mails, everything else. Or the salespeople wouldn't follow up on them at all. And both scenarios aren't good. If you're too aggressive with majority of leads that are sales qualified, right? After a while, even if they loved your content, they're going to turn you off and say, I don't want to engage because I know what happens. And it's because they're marketing qualified. And if there's no nurture and follow up, right? Well, then you're missing, you know, out on opportunity. So we put this together to help organizations kind of solve for that.
And I think, Catherine, your question, oops, sorry, was about the ideal customer persona. Is that correct? So
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, just because like there's more principals than there are curriculum directors, right? And so like I could theoretically see it being more expensive to target and get leads for curriculum directors than like any school level admin. So just curious there.
Yeah, we really, you know, what we do is we have you check-in boxes there, Catherine, and then we find out from the data team what our capabilities are and report that back to you, but you won't pay extra based on the title itself. It's just a matter of, you know, how many can we capture for you.
Awesome, thanks.
And Catherine, Steve can send this title list over to you as well.
Yeah, please do.
You'd like.
I can drop my email in the chat. I
can share the information out with everybody too, Jim. We didn't really get to that part, but thank you everyone once again. Thanks, Jim. Thanks everybody who showed up and contributed.
Thanks, Allie.
We will do it all again next month.